there guys, I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do to my studio to make things easier for me, including pastel storage, and along with what you can do to have, you know, like your own airbrush paints ready to go, stuff like that, and everything else. So a couple of things that I like to do actually is most dollar stores carry these little plastic containers with lids, and they come in like a huge packet like this, and they're $1 a piece, which are really cool. These are called Sure Fresh reusable mini containers and lids, and they're 10. They're freezer safe and BPA free safe. So what I actually like to do is, because I do a lot of pastel work and I have to constantly shade pastels, I found it easier that if I already have them pre-ground and put into a little cup like this, then all I have to do is pull out that cup I need, open the lid, it's already there. I don't have to take my brush away from the horse, and I don't have to put the horse down for whatever reasons to shade more pastel dust off. So what you can do is, of course, you're going to need these containers or something close to it. I don't like the really super big containers for this just because they take up too much room and the pastels will not fill this giant container up. So, okay, so you're going to need those. You're also going to need your pastel set. This is the Earth set of pastels. They go from darkest to lightest, from black to kind of a very light yellow, even though it doesn't look yellowish. Once you peel off the top layer, it's yellow under there. Now, of course, if you're not very good with colors, what I recommend doing is that every time you take one of these and you crush one of these pastel sticks into here, you're going to put one, meaning like black, okay? And then you're going to take another one, and you're going to take the next color, and you're going to put two, okay? And you're going to put, you know, that could be lighter brown or whatever the next color is on your pastel set. And you do this all the way down so that you know that each color is, you know, a little bit different, just because you may have a little bit harder time figuring out what colors are where, and how the consistency is in darkness to lightest. Now, of course, with me, I don't have to worry about this because I'm way above skill on color coordination, so knowing what colors are what, where need to go where, and stuff like that. But if you're a beginner, I always recommend doing that just because it is a little bit easier. So what you're also going to need to crush pastels, what I actually like to do, is you can either use scissors, which are the best if you are inexperienced and you know, you're younger. I don't recommend doing this for the younger community. It's just not a good idea. But what you're going to need, if you're a little bit older and you have more experience, you're closer to my age, is you're going to need one of these box cutters. These are very sharp and very dangerous. I don't recommend this for anyone that's underage, so please do not use this. Use a pair of scissors or ask your parents to do it for you. And, you know, X-Acto knives will work okay for this as well, but you got to remember that these things are very sharp, and I have cut myself many times with box cutters or X-Acto knives, and I just don't really like using these, but they do get the job a little bit quicker done and stuff. You're also going to need something to crush your pastels in. I couldn't find my pastel crusher, which is essentially, it's like almost like a pill crusher. It crushes the pills to a fine powder, and I can't seem to find it, so what I'm going to do is the old method that I used to do. So what you're going to need is like a paint container like this, something smaller that'll fit into here. So you can see how it kind of, there's lots of room in there for me to do. So yeah, so what you're going to do is I'm going to start with the lightest color down here. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a small portion of this off. And of course you will get little chips of pastel. Just kind of stuff them in there if you can. You don't want to lose them. You can also do this on a piece of paper and so forth. If you want to wear gloves, you can. I'm not going to wear gloves because I'm just going to wash my hands afterwards. Then what you're going to do is, sometimes if the piece is too big, you may have to start chipping it away at it with your scissors or something. But you're going to take this and you're just going to start smashing it into your cup. Okay, And once you start getting smashed, you're going to start grinding it. And of course, you know, this will take some time to do. And you shake it, do a little bit more grinding, shake it, do a little bit more grinding, shake it, do a little bit more grinding. And you keep doing this until you get this nice fine powder. So you get something that looks like this. So it's this nice fine powder. This is a really good method because then, you know, when you're ready to paint your horse, you put the lid on it, of course, so they can't blow away. It also keeps the pastels nice and fresh. I have noticed that over the years, the pastels do start to chip and get old. I've noticed this in several of the brands, even though they are pastels and they are supposed to last a long time, even to open air. I have noticed this with some of the cheaper brands. So, you know, and then of course you got your pastels dust already ready to go in the container. You put the container down, you got your horse here, you get your brush out, you open up the lid and you say, okay, I got this, and you dust him, and you dust him some more, and you don't have to worry about putting him down or shaving off any of this. And it's a really good method to use, especially if you have, you know, a lot of layers that you want to do and you don't want to have to put the horse down, and you got to shave some more, put the horse down. And it saved me a lot of time actually on doing this, because I do prefer pastel over every single method that I have worked with, including airbrush, oil, acrylic, all of it. I prefer pastel dust to everything. I really like the color, I like the feel of it, and overall it's just a very nice method to use. It does take time to learn how to do correctly though. It's not something you can learn right away. It took me, I think, about 6 horses before I could actually get the color just right to where I was happy with it, and of course it still had major flaws to it, but you learn from your mistakes. Okay, so now let's clear this up a little bit and make room for what the next thing I'm going to show you. So the next thing I have is these are plastic empty bottles, okay? They have little lids on them, like this. And I don't remember if I got these at the dollar store. I think I did, but I believe they come in a pack of 6. And these are really useful when you want to mix your acrylics. I don't use my acrylics generally straight out of the bottle. I prefer to mix them. And a couple of methods that I've learned over the last couple of months actually from some interesting articles that I've read and just experience in general. I have found that with diluting your acrylics with water, it's not that good. I've also noticed that when you airbrush with your acrylics and you dilute them with water, you get this very weird textured look, which I don't really like. So I have started using a method with window washing fluid. You go to the car department and you get window cleaner. Of course, the tint safe window cleaner. You can use Windex in some of the darker colors. Windex works just fine. I've also done the method of using a little bit of alcohol in it instead of using water. But what I do is, let's pull one of these out, is I have this container like this, and I mix up my consistency to how thick I want it. Usually what I do is I fill the container half with paint and then the rest of it with the alcohol or the window cleaner. Now, depending on what I'm going to use that bottle for, if I'm going to use it for airbrush, I may thin it out a little bit better, or if I'm just going to be using it for painting in general, I may have 2 bottles, depending. I may put one that says airbrush, meaning just for the airbrush alone because it's mixed differently, and then one for regular painting. Especially if, you know, you have to do any weird cream colors or pinking or stuff. I've got actually 2 bottles of pink. I don't know where the other one is, but this is the pinking bottle for doing pink markings on a horse when I'm done for touch-up work. And I like it a little bit thicker than what I like on my airbrush paints because of course I don't want it to run and so forth. You know, but it's a really good way of doing it. I found it takes a lot less time having to deal with mixing the paint and wasting the paint, especially if you don't know how much you need. With this, you just pop the lid, turn it over, pour a little bit into your bowl, and you can just drip it. So you can have like 1 drip, and that'll be enough for doing the whole pinking on his nose. Where I used to be able to, where last time I just squirt the whole bottle out because it dries so fast and it was wasting paint. So yeah, but this is a really good method. I really like it. It also keeps my colors a little bit more organized. So this bottle here was this color, and then what you do is you just write the brand and then the skin tone, which this is, onto the bottle, and you know what color it is, and then you can also write the code on it. Usually they have a code. Sometimes you can use the barcode on the back here, just the last 4 or 5 digits. But sometimes, you know, they will change the digits depending. But if you usually just write the brand and then the color, you're good to go. And I really enjoy this method. I've got several different colors here, all like this with different shades. You know, and then of course, you know, when you're ready to use it, shake it up real good, and then you're ready to go. That's all you got to do. So it's really, really, really good. So that window cleaner is a very good method to use to mix your paints or thin them down. I've done that a while now, other than just using the water. I've changed from the water to this thinning down process with the cleaner for the windows. All it is window cleaner. It's safe for tinted windows, and it's basically, I think it's an alcohol mixture, a little bit of alcohol in it. But if you don't have that, you can just use regular alcohol. Or if you're going to use like a darker color like black or really dark brown, you can use Windex, because the blue in that will not really interfere with that color particularly. But I do just like having the non-colored stuff for my mixing my paints with, because you know, you never want to really mix blue with black. Yeah, you can get away with it, but it's kind of how it is. So yeah, but that's what I do, guys, to help kind of organize and keep everything neat and tidy. Of course, you know, I will have to go through all my pastel colors. I just got this new set here recently because the pastels I did want are back ordered everywhere, and I just gave up and I went back to the other pastels that I was originally using, even though they're a little bit harder to use. So I have to put them in these cups. So yeah, if you got any questions, guys, let me know. If you have any further questions, I will do the best I can to answer anything you have.